If you're struggling at the moment with your direction in life, you don't know where to turn, you don't know what to do next, you see a whole life spread out ahead of you and you have absolutely no idea how you're going to fill it and how you're going to fill it with anything meaningful. There's a lot of guys in this position. I come across them all the time in my men's group that have this distinct lack of purpose and absolutely no idea where to go. And I realise that this is something that has really affected me hard throughout the years. And there is one piece of advice that I can offer. And that is that if you are feeling lost in life, if you don't know which direction to turn, if you're maybe panicking about what your future is going to look like, then stop taking advice from other people. And I realise the irony of this. I realise that my advice is to tell you not to take advice. But if you're going to listen to anything, listen to that one piece of advice. Why is this important? Well, let me explain my experience of this. For a long time, I have slowly, especially when I was in my early 20s, kind of slowly started to lose my confidence and my faith in myself. A few things happened that made me doubt my ability to make decisions and good judgments for myself. And so I began to doubt myself at my core. And so what happened was that people who I loved, people that were in my social circle, my friends, my family, would all start to offer advice on what they thought I should do. And there is one person in particular in my life that has always been there to offer me advice on what they think that I should do. And this person is a big part of my life, and there's no reason why I wouldn't listen to them. And so for the last, I would say, decade of my life, I have spent listening to the advice of other people. And what has happened is that I had slowly become more and more despondent with life, more and more disconnected, more feelings of hopelessness, that whatever direction that I turned in was always the wrong one. And the more wrong turns I took, the more I started to despair that there was no correct path for me. And I realised that all these paths that I was taking were not of my choosing. They were all other people's. And it's only really in the last year or so that or maybe even in the last 6 months, that I've really started to reflect on the decisions that I make in life. And this hit me especially bad in the last job that I took. I had been working in sales for 10 years, had been, I don't think ever happy with the job, but just happy with the income and the lifestyle that it afforded me. But eventually it started to get to a point where I didn't feel that there was any grand purpose to what I was doing. The bills were all covered and I had some nice things, but I felt like my life didn't really have any true meaning, like I wasn't contributing. And that was important to me. It might not be to you, there's nothing wrong with that, but to me that was important. And so I got really burned out, I quit, and I decided that I wanted to take a job that was more hands-on so that I could see what I had done. I could see the fruits of my labour at the end of the day. I wanted to take a job with guys that were more hands-on and physical, and the type of people that would tell you exactly how they feel about you, rather than those kind of office environments where you never really know where you stand with people. And so I took this job, and within the first couple of weeks, I hated it. I really did not enjoy it at all. And then I really started to panic, and my performance started to drop at work, and eventually I quit that job too. And I got to a place where I was really worried about where the fuck I'm supposed to turn next, because I have tried a lot of jobs in my time, and all of them have had good things, positive parts of them, but not positive enough for me to want to stay there. And it suddenly dawned on me that 90 or 95% of the decisions I've made in my adult life were guided by the advice of other people. And this is a serious problem. And it is a problem because when someone gives you advice, they are merely telling you how they would solve the problem if they were in your situation. But they are not you. And their problems are not your problems, and therefore their solutions are not your solutions. What is going to make them happy or feel fulfilled or safe or whatever it is that is most important to them is not going to be the same thing for you. We are so individualistic. We all have completely unique combinations of things that we really need to thrive as humans. And when we take the advice of other people, regardless of how similar those people are to us, what we're telling our subconscious is that we don't trust ourselves to make those decisions. I've felt some anger lately, and that anger has stemmed from the fact that I made a decision to grow this channel and to launch a coaching business. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, what I want to do. But because no one around me is in that environment, no one that I know personally does YouTube, no one that I know personally does coaching, when I turn to people for advice, their immediate reaction is one of fear. Most of the people that I speak to are company people. They like the safety of working for a company. And therefore, when they offer advice on something like that, it comes from a place of where they would react if they were in that situation. And the idea for some people of being self-employed, of not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from, is mortally terrifying for them. And so they can't possibly offer you good advice, because it's coming from a place of fear. Not only is it coming from a place of fear, but it's filtered through their own lens of the world, which is not yours. And this is what's been happening to me lately. Every time I've been speaking to anybody about what I should do, in fact, what I've been doing is talking to people about what I'd like to do and really looking for their approval. And when I don't get that approval, becoming really frustrated and starting to lose confidence in my initial idea. And it's been difficult, and I picked up on this last night and this morning as well. I knew that I was avoiding this issue of anger that I was feeling. I couldn't understand where it was coming from, and so I took some time this morning to really meditate and think about where it is coming from. And it is external factors, it is other people's advice, and it is not the fact that these people are giving me this advice. This is something you need to also consider, is that your friends and loved ones are giving you advice because they want the best for you, but they just don't understand what is the best for you. And so you can't ever fault anyone for attempting to give you advice. And very occasionally, those people know you so well that they do give you some good advice. But in most scenarios, they can't offer you the kind of advice that you need. And I think the only time really you should take advice from anyone is when you are absolutely certain about what path it is that you want to be on. And even then, you should only take advice from the people that have been down that path already and have the thing that you want to have. So for me, that's coaching. Now I'm trying to build a network of coaches. I've got a chat with a guy who's just recently started a coaching business. I have my own coach as well. And speaking to these kinds of people that understand what my problems are is going to be much more beneficial than a frustrating conversation with somebody who has worked for a company for the last 20 years and can't comprehend the idea of starting an online business with no guarantee of income. So where does this lead us? If we're not supposed to take the advice of people when we are unsure about what to do with our own lives, then what are we supposed to do? And I think it all comes back to this ability to trust in our own intuition. And if you think about this, when we were kids, we just did what felt naturally right to us. You know, if we wanted to go and bang on a drum, we went and did that. Then we would throw the drum down and we would go and play Lego for a bit. And then we would go outside with our friends, and then we would have an argument with the friends. And then 2 minutes later, we would make up with them. We live in the moment and we trust our intuition to guide us because we haven't been bombarded with all of these messages about how we're supposed to behave. And we don't let doubt creep in. We just follow our desires. Now, obviously, you become an adult, there are certain desires that are maybe inappropriate, or there are certain times where it's not a good idea to act on your desires. There are certain rules that are in place for a good reason. But I think as we get older, we lose this ability to trust in our intuition. And I made a video about this, I think now like a couple of years ago. It was an early video on this channel about this advice that we hear all the time is follow your passions. And it is absolute and total, utter bullshit. Because what if you don't have any passions? What if you don't know what you want to do? What if you're in a place where nothing really particularly calls to you? And the only advice that I can offer under those circumstances, and has always guided me in a positive direction, is to follow your curiosities. Anything that you've ever been slightly curious about, go and put yourself in that environment. Go and experience that thing as best you can, and just follow your curiosities. You're not committing to doing that thing for the rest of your life. You are just committing to honouring your intuition and seeing if it's something that does interest you. And living this way, you are going to have such a better experience of life, and as your intuition grows, you're going to grow in confidence as well. You're going to have more confidence in your ability to guide your life in the direction it needs to go. You do not need advice from anyone unless you are already on a specific path and you are struggling with some of the obstacles that come up. Then, like I said, speak to someone that's already done that thing. But if you are in a position where you have low confidence, you don't know what to do with your life, you have no idea which direction to turn next, then just follow some curiosities. And you can't tell me you don't have any curiosities, because everybody does. You know, everybody has some interests, and even if it's only a mild interest, then just follow it. And what you're telling your subconscious is that it's all right to follow this intuition and see what happens. And the more you do that, the more insights you'll gain, and the more insights you gain, the stronger your intuition becomes. And this is the process that I'm going through right now, and it's not an easy process. It's a painful process, and trusting your intuition means that you are going to come up against a lot of objections from loved ones and family members and friends that don't understand the path that you're on. But it's an opportunity for you to trust in a system that is built into your brain or your gut. You know, you have a gut feeling, whatever it is, but it's a system that is built into you for a reason, and you just need to trust in it. I've never really gone wrong when I've trusted my intuition, and I have always gone wrong when I have been sat in doubt and turned to someone for advice and followed that advice. It has always led to me being eventually unhappy. So if I can offer any advice, is to not take advice. And I appreciate the irony of that, but I feel like that's a message that so many people need to hear, because there are so many people stuck feeling like they have no idea which way to turn, going online and seeing that this YouTuber has made X amount of money selling bath bombs on Etsy, or whatever it is going to be. we're so low in confidence ourselves that we believe that if that works for that person, then it must work for us, and it's just not the case. We are so individual. We just need to follow our own intuitions. And I hope this advice helps, and I'd love to know your feelings and what's come up for you during this video. So let me know in the comments. If you want to get more insights, you can sign up to the newsletter using the link in the description, and I also have a limited number of coaching spaces, and you can apply in the link in the same description as well. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.